Hello everyone, I'm Johan Rodrik and this is my sketchbook video part 2, and I cut up my two of my drawing pads, sketch pads, where I had some sketchy drawings inside and I wanted to have them in better display, and I decided to cut them apart and I can better use the pages they're left over, so that I'm no longer worried about ruining any drawing in front of them. So yeah, that worked out in two ways. And these sketches here that I have, all of them are made around 2010 and 2011. This one is made 2010 in spring. In spring of 2010 I made this one, and also the next one. One of my favorite drawing techniques is a little bit comics inspired. Felt tip pen and marker and ink pen line drawing that I first started drawing with graphite pencils that I don't really like, and I don't quite hate them either, so it's like something I don't like using, but ink pen is something different. That's one of my favorite tools to make some line drawings, and line drawing is one of my favorite things to do, besides painting, of course. And I do like switch periodically. I periodically do switches between drawing and between painting, so I don't continuously paint and I don't continuously draw. I switch between them. I'll do one or the other, or I do also digital remix editions of I'll take this is also one of the reasons why I cut the sketchbook up, is to make new, to use these in new remix artworks that I produce digitally, and I can get better pictures, or in case of necessity I can get scans out of the drawing better than it's inside of a sketch block that is also unpresentable, in case I want to present and exhibit my drawings. And yeah, I did like a lot of this kind of improvised drawings, and now I'm planning to repurpose some of these in my remixes. Some I mix together with paintings I have done earlier, and some I will put up with. This is actually one of a sketch for an exhibition poster. I didn't use this as a poster, but now I'm going to repurpose this one. This is made somewhere in 2011, I believe, purely with markers. There's nothing else used, markers and paper, different kind of markers. Some are ink markers and some are paint markers. And this is going to be repurposed as something. I don't know what yet, but I'll figure something out. And one of my biker subject, I like also biker costumes and leather costumes and things like those. So I made improvised drawing along the line of that. Oh, next one is a biker. Nice. And and now I also photographed these, so I gotta soon go check how these work out. I tested my monopod on those. Probably I get some images for social media, or maybe something else, but I think I have to scan them. I don't have a A3. These are A3 formats, and I don't have an A3 scanner at the moment. I have an A4 scanner. That's why I have more like A4 paper drawing, because they fit into the scanner better. Yeah. Well, like, I have enough big paintings, so my painting selection on canvas, I think I'm not planning to do any more, because I have enough to put out for exhibitions, and at the moment I'm working with like smaller paintings in A4 size, and maybe A3 size, but since I have only A4 scanner, I mainly do A4 sizes that I can scan in more efficiently and make digital remixes of them. And here I tried photographing, so I haven't seen the pictures yet, and hopefully I got some good photographs to do edits of something and remix with something. Maybe I'll remix with some of my photos. I have some artworks made that way, that I have taken a drawing of mine, some sort, and substituted the background, white background, which is easy to cut out, into my nature photograph or something like that. So I have a few drawing and or painting and photograph put into some digital collage artworks, or maybe sometimes I'll put two drawings together, and maybe sometimes I put two. I edit like two paintings together, and there are some variations how I do it, and it may vary a slight bit. But yeah, now I have a better presentation of these, and these bikers were made more towards the autumn of 2010, and this is also made in the spring along the other of these felt tip pen drawings that I mentioned earlier. And I did some improvised costumes and something. I have like drawn a bit of inspiration of some fashion art, like sketches, and I have had put my own twist on it and make something. I start the drawing and I improvise it in the process. So starting a drawing, I quite rarely know what's coming out of it. I test this and that, and then I'll improvise something in between. And well, I have sometimes I do have a vision, so I see the end vision immediately when I start, but not in case of sketches. And that's how I like most doing sketch artworks because there I improvise more, and I I do something else in between, and I'll cut the artwork up or put something else in, and I'll cut out and do like add some collage and improvise in many different ways in sketches more than I do in my real more artworks, and my sketch type artworks are which I like doing more. And I have mentioned earlier that I can't work with a given subject, so if somebody asks me to draw something, then I most likely refuse, because I just can't do it. I have to do what I chose to do and what I improvise, so I can't do as a drawing service. Sorry. If you want somebody to draw something for you that you want to be drawn, you gotta contact somebody else. But if I only have the drawings that I have made and the new artworks that I sometimes make, and but I can't do anything for somebody by a given subject by somebody else. I very rarely get along with that. So I'm not a designer, and I'm not a drawer. I'm more like an artist. There's some sort of a statement in Estonia here where I've heard it sometimes, that what's the difference between an artist and a handicrafter? And the difference is that artists do what they want to do, and handicrafters will do what they are asked to do, and artists never do that. Among artists there is a little statement like that, and I completely agree with that. That goes absolutely stands true about me, and I don't do portraits on commission, but I do sometimes portray somebody, but on my own choice. And yeah, that's one of my favorites. I was working on a gun subject, and I like guns a lot, and I have a gun artwork series also, and I had my twist on gun subject. I mentioned earlier that I'm a knife thrower and an axe thrower, and I also like targeting. I am also using a crossbow and air guns and bow, and I like also visiting shooting range and letting off a few rounds. So I'm pretty much a gunaholic. Well, if that's a word. According to Demolition Ranch, it is. And I do like watching Demolition Ranch. Shout out to Matt Carricker. But yeah, I like working with gun subjects as much as I like drawing. And yeah, an interior scene or something. And when I was small, I had a lot of like drawing books, or it's not drawing book. There was like lines were there. Coloring books is the right word, which is white paper with a picture lined in, and it looked a little bit lined up, like had some black lines on paper, and it looked like a little bit like comics, and I coloring these. And I also like comics, so I like a little bit comic style, but that's not all I like. I also like in painting I use it sometimes, but sometimes I don't use it. I switch out the style a little bit in certain extent, but yeah, comics inspired looks are one of my favorites. A little bit pop art. I like different kind of arts as well. I like pop art, I like expressionism, I like surrealism, I like abstractionism, and I like different styles of art, and I sometimes mix them together into one artwork. It's pretty surreal to do that. And I think with landscape ones we're about almost done for today, and one with my different shades of gray here. This artwork is done in 2010, so no correlation with 50 Shades of Grey movie. It was nowhere near being out yet. And the last one also with working with some shades of grey, which I cut out, and it's also done in 2010. And in 2010 I signed my artworks. I wrote 2010 like 2% because it was similar, like 0, 1, 0, and if I wrote it like this, it looked like 2%. So if I have a signature that is like looking like 2%, it was my joke. I did it for a joke. I wrote 2%, but it was actually a year, 2010. In spring of 2010, I made that. So yeah, a bit later, entire year 2010 contains a year like this. And I also didn't sign with my full name, Juhan Rodrik. I was signing my nickname Juku, which I was using, was prevalently used that era, and so I did like that. It was a nice and funny sometimes, and that's it for today. Hopefully I could provide some insight into my art, and open some of my styles and style applications up for you. So hopefully you found it interesting and educating, and thank you for watching, and see you next time.